Let's be real for a second. If Colleen Ballinger were a man, not only would people have been disturbed by her behavior way sooner, she might already be in prison. If you missed the latest update in this saga, it has been confirmed that Colleen sent porn to some of the fans that she was DMing with, many of whom were underage. And this is just in addition to all the other abhorrent behavior that has come out. But even before the whole porn thing came out, a lot of people were wondering how Colleen managed to fly under the radar for basically a decade. And I have a few ideas as to why that might be. First, Colleen is a woman. For some reason, people think that women can't be abusers, especially of children, but they absolutely can. And ironically, I think another reason why Colleen has been considered non-threatening for many years is because she is a mom. And a woman with kids would never abuse kids, right? They'd never speak to a child inappropriately. Never mind that from what I've seen, her Miranda show is just basically her saying inappropriate things in front of kids for an hour plus. Now add to that Colleen has pretty privilege. Colleen is a conventionally attractive, young, white, rich woman. I already mentioned that if she were a man, she wouldn't have gotten away with any of this for so long. But let's also consider how Colleen and or Miranda's antics would have been received if she were ugly or fat. Colleen does a lot of things to make her character of Miranda visually unappealing. The slicked back hair, the sloppy lipstick, the frumpy clothes, the bad posture. But everyone in that community knows that behind this woman is this woman. I really think that if Miranda were still a character, but the real Colleen actually looked and dressed and stood that way, she would not be famous. Her videos would have been considered creepy. And I also think that if she were fat or ugly, she would have been considered gross much earlier on for the things that she has said and done. And honestly, I don't think she ever would have gotten famous if she were not conventionally attractive. I also think Colleen is kind of ingenious to have marketed Miranda to kids. I'm not sure if she did that intentionally at first. I just think a lot of adults are kind of past that kind of toilet humor. So she just happened to attract kids and she took that and ran. Miranda first came on the scene when smartphones were just becoming popular. So kids were able to watch her without their parents seeing and hearing everything that Miranda was saying. And I'm not a parent, but I feel like part of parenting is kind of learning how to toe the line between allowing your kids to watch things that they like but you really don't, and being unaware as to whether the things that you're seeing and hearing are really appropriate or if you're just misunderstanding. Like, I remember back in middle school when I brought home my first yearbook, some guy that I knew had written hags in my yearbook, and my mom got so upset because she was like, is he calling you a hag? But at least back in 2002, that stood for have a great summer. And we wrote that in everyone's yearbooks. So like the Miranda character uses the word tukey for vagina. For some parents, they might see her talking about her tukey in a video with a 13-year-old JoJo Siwa, and they might think, well, at least she's not saying vagina or pussy. Maybe this is common slang. And then those parents find themselves at a Miranda show with their kids, and they're like, holy shit, this is weird. But their kid is enjoying it, so what are they gonna do? Are they going to make them leave the show? And this is not to say that parents shouldn't be responsible. And again, I'm not a parent, but I feel like a lot of parenting is guesswork, figuring out like what you should make a big deal out of and what you shouldn't. And finally, I think Colleen was very smart to essentially create 3 different facades that don't have a lot of crossover. She has Miranda, the inappropriate kids character. She had Colleen, your bestie, who makes vlogs about her life. And then she has Mommy Colleen, who does family vlogging. The kids who were or are Miranda Sings fans might not be tuning into her mommy vlogs. And the adults who like the family content probably don't watch Miranda Sings. So someone watching her vlogs might hear her say an off-color joke and be like, well, that was weird and uncomfortable, but it's just a one-off. So they let it go, and there's really no pattern for them to see yet. Meanwhile, if they tuned in to the Miranda channel, they would see that that kind of stuff is rampant in Colleen's material. Colleen was really cunning to split her audience into thirds, or at least in half. And then employing, figuratively, because we know that Colleen does not pay the people who actually work for her, employing people to attack anyone who did notice the pattern and talk about it. But unfortunately for her, social media, the very thing that catapulted her career, is now her downfall.